I'm going to tell you a story that I've never shared with more than a few people. G'day. I've been going through my other channels, as I said I would, to find duplicates and deleting those. I found a couple, but turns out they're already on this channel. But it occurred to me I might share a little story with you that I've only ever told a handful of people. It's a little bit unusual, but hey, that's me. And that's probably why you're here watching it. Okay, so going back over 15 years ago, I can't remember exactly the date or anything like that. I was out with my girlfriend, and at the time her kids were living here. So, I don't know, we went out to dinner or something. So on the way home, she gets a phone call, and we had caller ID, and it said home. Okay, someone's calling. Now here's the very strange part. Nobody was at home, they were all out somewhere else. The only people here were the cats. Back then we had the landline, the normal telephone that people used to have before mobiles. And I don't remember if it was the old type with the cord or cordless. I think it was probably cordless. But it doesn't matter because the call said home, meaning it had to come from here, this house. So if that wasn't strange enough, logically I thought the only possible thing is if somehow one of the cats jumped up and knocked the phone off its cradle and pressed the button, but of course came home and the phone was on its cradle. Meaning the impossible was very impossible. Now I can't explain that. The only logical thing I can think would be that there was some weird exchange problem. But I don't know, what do you think of that? And absolutely, yes, we triple checked. Nobody was home when the call came through. That's one of a few ghost type stories that I've encountered in my life. I'll put a link to a couple that I've made YouTube videos about in the description and in the end screens, or up here in the playlist. Now, look, I'm not overly a ghost person or a non-ghost person. I believe that everything is connected in some way. You and I are all connected. Everything is connected, every atom, if you really think about it. And that is how I think that I encountered the big UFO encounter I did last year, which I made a video about. But that's another story. I know a few of you said you'd like to hear some of those. But this is I think an entirely separate matter. Have you ever experienced anything unusual like that? I know the one I'll link at the end. It's not terrific, but it was a weird encounter that I particularly remember a couple of years ago when I was videoing at home. Everything was closed up. And when I played the video back, there's this weird shadow thing that goes around my head a couple of times. Put myself into that role. Imagine I'm that person and that character. Apparently I'm quite expressive facially, so. And as an actor, I'd like doing both. I see them as two entirely separate things and entirely different forms of acting. People are on movies and the acting is not from the heart, it's not sincere, it's not believable. Now I was only, and this isn't really related to this video I'm making, but I was only from here to there from the camera. All the doors and windows were shut, ceiling fan was off, there was no breeze, there were no bugs, anything logical. You'd think something crawled around the circumference of the lens there, but it didn't. There was nothing. I was looking straight down the barrel of the lens. So yeah, that's a weird one. I'll put that short video at the end, but my first experience with anything like ghosts, and I've had quite a few when I think about it, was way back when I was a young teenager, and where I was living at the time. I used to, back then, be on the CB radio. How many of you know what that is? And I had a whole wall of what they called QSL cards from people I'd spoken to around Australia, and sometimes through Skip off the ionosphere, people overseas. And back then you used to exchange these things. It's like postcards, but yeah, they were called QSL cards. QSL meaning conversation, if I recall correctly. So I had a whole wall full of those. And I remember once turning over and I saw this, like a person, just for a second or two, just kind of went like that, as if, you know, sorry to use this analogy, but as if to do a Heil Hitler while they're walking forward, and disappeared through the wall. Look, like most things, I can't say if I imagined that or not, but that's what I saw. That was my first recollection of anything ghost-like. So I thought I'd make that little video. Brought out Old Faithful before because it's getting a bit cold here now. And I'm sitting here in my office where I spend the majority of my days if I'm not doing something else. I should just say where I spend the majority of my days, full stop. So, okay, well, I'll get back to doing something else and putting this video together. I just thought I'd put it out there. Let me know below any experiences you've had. Like I said, that's just one of them, and if there's interest in this video, I can always come up with some more for you. Okay, cheers. Well, I'll do that again. I think I blocked the camera. Okay, cheers, and I'll see you soon. Bye.